Hi, today's my birthday. I am 90 years young. My Gary the historian is taking a movie of me. I think it's funny. Anyway, my children want to know why I celebrate April the 4th instead of on March the 21st when I actually was born. In Weirton, West Virginia, all the babies that were born, the midwife, Statia's mother, the midwife, would come to the house and deliver all the Greek babies in Weirton, West Virginia. However, the nurse would come from the government a couple weeks later and check the babies out to see they were all right, and they would register us, and consequently they put down that I was born April the 4th. However, in my Uncle George Mihalis' birthday, a Bible, my birthday is listed as March the 21st, but I have always celebrated April the 4th because my birthday certificate said April the 4th. Now, what else could I tell you?
Well, I mean, you have a lot of experiences with two dates.
A lot of what?
Experiences with two dates, like your marriage.
I never celebrated March 21st. When I went to get my passport with my husband Steve, my darling husband, they told me that birth certificate wasn't good enough. It was just a piece of paper that I had to go back and get the original. And that's when I questioned and found out this little story that I told you. Finally, how did I get my passport? We inquired where the birth certificate births were listed, but the building burned down and all the records burned. So I had to find somebody older than myself to vouch for me of who I was, and that's how I got my passport. And that's when I actually thought about when was my birthday. Same year, but just a couple of weeks later.
Now, tell me about your first wedding.
Oh, my husband Steve and I were corresponding. He was in college and I was here in Baltimore, and he was going to Ohio State in Columbus, Ohio. And we were corresponding, and through our correspondence we really got to know each other. He came to visit me, and I have to back up. I was going to go to Weirton, West Virginia with my cousin Cynthia. And when I was leaving, my sister Cynthia said to me, when you go to Weirton, you go to Steubenville and meet Steve Arambeges. I think he's just your type. And I said, oh my gosh, I'm not going for that. I was only 17. But when I did get to Weirton, my cousin and I went to the home of Arambeges. Their name was Arambeges. Steve changed it to Ambridge when he was in college. I said to Afro, Steve's sister, where is Steve? And she said, oh, he's working. But he's only up the street. Let's go. So Cynthia, Afro, and I went up. And on the way up, Afro said, let's play a joke on him. I'll tell you Steve's friends' names and pretend out that you were on a date with Steve and his friends. I said, okay. But I went in the store alone. And I asked for Steve, and they said to me, "Oh, he's in the back. I'll get him." So he came out and he looked at me, and he was such a gentleman. And he was wondering, who is she? Why is she asking to see me? As he approached me, I said, the little actress that I was, "Oh, Steve, you act like you don't remember me." And he was trying so hard to be polite. And he kept saying, "Let me see." And then I couldn't help it. I started laughing and I said, "Oh, Steve, you don't know me. You know my sister Cynthia. My name is Connie." And I was laughing. And he went, "Oh." So that was a standing joke between us. And that was my first encounter with my husband-to-be, Steve. But I liked what I saw. Oh, I thought to myself, my sister was right. He is really good looking, and I like his mannerism. But we left. But he said, "Let me take you out for a sundae." So he took us out for a sundae. And we were talking.
You and Afro.
Afro and Cynthia and me with Steve. And we had he says, "Have you ever tried the chocolate hot fudge sundae?" I said, "No, I didn't." "Well, you order that, you're going to like it." So that was my introduction to a hot fudge sundae. This was in 1938, the summer of 1938. By 1940, mind you, I received this letter. And he wrote, "This I am writing to you. I don't know who wrote first. In the meantime, I did send him a letter and I thanked him for his hospitality while I was in Steubenville. But he said, to tell you the truth, I hesitated in writing because I didn't want your mother to get the wrong idea. I know how my parents would react if my sister received the letter. They were so strict. And from that, we started corresponding, and he liked what I wrote to him, and I liked what he wrote to me, and he made a trip over to Baltimore, and we walked over to Patterson Park.
Which we have a picture of.
And we walked to this beautiful tree, and we sat down, and he got up and he said, "I'm going to put our hearts on there." So I'm sitting watching him carve 2 hearts, and I have a picture of that. And he's putting on there CA for my heart, and then on his heart he put, I put CC. I mean, after all, my name was Chirigos, Chirigos. And he put his initials, SA, and he put an arrow across it. And I kept thinking to myself, I know he's going to kiss me, and I wonder how I'm going to react. So he did kiss me, and wow, I really, really liked his kissing. And I thought, ooh, I really, really like him. And that's how it started. And we just continued writing letters. And to this day, I still have all his letters, which is quite a few of them. And every so often, I still read them. Beautiful letters.
Now tell us when you got married first.
So he didn't quite finish his college. This is important, because by that time, World War II broke out. And all the boys, regardless whether they were in college or not, regardless what they were taking up, they were drafted. So in the meantime, Steve decided, and this is a secret, I finally told my family this secret. he decided, Connie, we can't know each other any better than we do. I cannot love you any more than I do. And I want to ask you something, but I have to see you in person. So he took a trip to Baltimore, and he said, what do you think about us getting married? I know it will be secret, but that's what we're going to have to do. And I thought about it, and I thought, well, I do love him. This is a big decision, but this is what he wants, and this is really what I want. So he got in touch with his friend Joe Maines in Washington, D.C., and he made arrangements for us to go and get married by the minister there. But I said to him, but you know what, Steve? We cannot live like a married couple because we have to get married in our church first. And he said, if that's what you want, that's what we'll do. That was kind of hard, but that's what we did. And poor Joe, he had rented a room for us, and Steve said, no, we cannot use the room. And we left, we came to Baltimore, and we were married, but nobody knew it. It was between Steve and me.
And what was the date?
And we got married in May of 1941. In the meantime...
That was before Pearl Harbor.
I don't know.
That was December 41, was Pearl Harbor, December 7th.
But I wonder why they were getting drafting the soldiers then. Well, I guess that's something
They were thinking that they were going to go to war.
Yeah. So his family decided to move to Baltimore. And my father-in-law sold his shop, the barber shop, and they moved over to Baltimore. In the meantime, Steve was ready to have a church wedding. But my mother-in-law was going by the old Greek custom. He told Steve, you cannot marry with your sister still being single. You have to wait till she gets married. So we were hoping and praying that she would meet somebody that she would like so she could get married. And she did. She met Ted Lambro and she liked him. And they decided to get married. So then my mother-in-law said, okay, they're going to get married this year, and you're going to wait till next year to get married. And Steve said, oh no, I'm not going to wait another year. So we went and talked to our priest at the church, and we told him our problem. And the priest looked at us and he said, it's very simple. Have a double wedding. And that's how we ended up having a double wedding. And of course, it solved the problem. We were happy. And Steve did not get his degree. He needed another 6 months. But he got a job with the Defense Department at Sparrows Point, building ships. And with him being married, working at the shipyard, then we had our first son, Kyriako Gary. He didn't have to go to war. But a lot of his friends in college, they were drafted. They weren't even allowed to finish their college. One of his friends in college said, boy, Steve, you are so lucky. If you were meant to go down below, you'd go down with an asbestos suit. And that's how we got married.
Let's see, huh?
Now to continue, after we were married, we wanted children right away. So we had Gary. We had an apartment on El Reno Street. And when Gary was born, that's where we were living. That was really my first apartment, and I loved it. But then Steve, they were drafting everybody by that time. So Steve felt that he would have to go, and he didn't want me to stay alone in the apartment, so we moved upstairs from my mother's house. By the time Gary was 2 years old, we were expecting another child. So we were looking for another house. In the meantime, they didn't call Steve to serve in the Army. We went and bought this house in Dundalk. Let's see. We moved into Dundalk. And Stanley was born when we moved into Dundalk. So then we had Anthony. After 5 years, we had our third son, Anthony. We named Gary after my father-in-law. Stanley, I wanted to name him after my father, but Steve said, I would like a boy named after me. I said, okay. So then when Anthony came along, I said, well, now we could name him after my father. I told my father this, Dad, I called him Pop. Pop, we're going to name this boy after you. And he said to me, well, it's about time. So we named the third one after my father. In the meantime, Steve never, of course, Steve was only 2.5 years old when his mother died. But every so often he would mention to me, you know, I never ever visited my mother's grave. I would love to find out where she was buried. But that's another story, how that happened. My father-in-law came from Asia Minor, which is now Turkey. And he went to Samos, and that's where he met Steve's mother, Angeliki. They got married. On the way on the ship coming over to America, Steve was almost born on the ship, but he wasn't. So they came to America, and he got a job, my father-in-law got a job in, I can't think of the name right now.
What was it? Was it a mine? A factory?
He started working in the coal mine. And Afra was born when Steve was 2 years old. His sister Aphrodite was born. Now, when Steve was 2.5 years old, Afra was 6 months old, their mother died unexpectedly. My father-in-law had left to look for another job at another place. While he was away, his mother got sick with a fever. In the meantime, his
her brother was
Angeliki's brother Varela was visiting from Samos, so he was with his sister Angeliki. He took her to the hospital in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. That's where it was, Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. He did not speak one word of English. People were dying left and right at that time. in 1914, in 1917.
It was the flu.
There was a flu going on there, and he kept saying Steve's mother's name in Greek. Well, they were swamped with patients coming in, and they just wrote down a name that it sounded what they were hearing, and it was the completely wrong name. Anyway, they registered her, and while she was in the hospital, my father-in-law was away. She died from a ruptured appendix. Now that always stayed with my husband. It always bothered him. He said, I have to find my mother's grave. So in the meantime, we were invited to go to a wedding in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. And I said, well, Steve, this is a good opportunity for us to go to the wedding and to look up your mother's grave. So this is what we did. Can we?
Yeah.
What Mo did?
What did he do?
He brought me chicken breasts, whole chicken. He had to go back down and get me the whole chicken.
Even I knew that.
Your Uncle Gary makes a good avgolemono. He brags that the avgolemono stays in peaks. I said, well, then I guess you put a lot of cornstarch.
So who makes that clean?
Okay. So, we got every. We have, they're all widows. All except one. She never got married. She's an old maid. I don't know why. She's a lovely person. She could cook, she could bake, she could do everything.
You call her an old maid?
She just never met. Someone told me she did meet somebody that she loved. But you have to remember that in my generation, when our parents came from Europe, they brought back their old habits, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You have to marry a Greek,
Okay.
just like the Jewish people. A Jew had to marry a Jew. I'll never forget this one girl. She was so beautiful. And there was a Jewish boy in our class, and they were dating, and they really were in love. And we all expected them to get married when they graduated. But he ended up not marrying her because she wasn't Jewish. Can you imagine?
Oh,
But they were like that.
wow.
Now Maria had an experience like that. When she was a nurse, when she said, I don't know if she remembers it, she used to go to the cafeteria, and this one person, I think he was an intern there, and he used to see her at lunchtime all the time, and he approached her, and he was Jewish, and he said, I'm not a practicing Jew. He wouldn't date her, you know. But she had started dating Jerry, and she wasn't interested at all. But that's how he approached her. He wanted to date her. He wanted to let her know that he was not a strict Jewish, following the tradition.
Mm.
Well, thank goodness that's not like that anymore.
Hi, Robin. How are you? Good to see you. How was the traffic down the turnpike?
We went back to my parents yesterday.
Oh, it was too easy. Good. Yeah, because we were down at the Outer Banks. That's sold on us.
Angela and Maria should be here shortly. They're here. They're here? Where did this band bike came from?
Hi.
We're just looking at pictures. All of our hair was long. Yours wasn't. You were in your newscaster stage. Very warm.
I was just wondering if it was even relevant to study like things from the past, which
It's like, okay, 12, we gotta do something. But it's okay, where we going? Where does everyone want to go? So we're exploring. It was a nightmare. But somehow or another, we got through.
Because I use that colorless,
It helps. Yeah, I mean, I've got some.
it's strengthener.
Yeah, right. I've got some clear polish on these, but
Well, your nails always look good.
no, they don't. No, actually, I was thinking I need what they refer to now as a mani-pedi. You know, the manicure and the pedicure at the same time. And I was going to do it this weekend, and then my plans for this weekend got canceled, and I thought, might as well wait till next weekend.
You want it to look good when you go to Paris.
Well, that's not till the end of July. I'll do it again for that.
Make sure you do it then.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna have one of your cookies.
Go ahead.
You are a good baker. He's the good cook and you're the good baker.
Is that our old camera here? Yeah.
The flower is dead. What in the world are you
He
digging
wanted
for?
to bury something maybe, or find something that he put there.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Well, they like the little helicopters that fall.
Oh yeah,
Because
those things are coming down in droves
there's
right
little
now.
seeds in
Little
there.
seeds, yeah. Yeah. Now I guess
They-
let's see.
They really look cute, but don't let them get in your house.
Oh no.
They'll rip your house
Well, as
apart.
long as you have this screen pulled across, he's not going to come scampering in here. But yeah, it's very. It should be. I see a red light.
But it's always cooler at the other end of the house. Around this time of the day, it gets warmer on this part of the house.
So working here? Oh,
What?
okay. It's on now.
Oh,
Just switch the
so
battery.
Gary and Joanna showed me pictures of Paris, and I can understand why people love Paris. If I were young, I would have wanted to visit Paris.
Yeah, well, it took me till I was 59 to get there.
Yeah,
So, at
But
least
you know-
finally I can say I did.
One wonderful thing, Gary and Joanna are so much alike. They both love the same things. And that makes it easy.
New experiences.
You love books,
Yeah.
you love to travel. And like Dad was not a traveler. He really didn't like to travel much.
No, I don't think your family is a traveling family, really. I mean,
Yeah.
the girls don't travel. I guess
No.
Anthony's gone on
Well,
more
I
business
think
trips.
because we had that business and we were always working and we raised 5 children and we didn't get a chance to do that. Just think, when we went to Greece, look how old we were when we went to Greece.
How old were you?
Oh, we went to Greece in 1993. 1993, so I was 61. But I just had a leg operation.
61's not old.
So anyway, I did get to see my father's island. Oh, and incidentally, my friend Nick Pavlis died. And his funeral was 2 days ago. And he always called me Samyatina. how are you? And I'd say, hi, Samyoti, because our parents came from Samos. And I'm going to miss that. I'm going to miss that. But I didn't go. I didn't go to the funeral. But anyway, going back to my school days when I was 16, and my father asked me to, not asked me, told me that I had to quit school and run the grocery store. Of course, I was very unhappy. But in the meantime, my principal would come and see my mother, and he would say to her, that was such a big injustice, pulling me out of school. So when my father, after 1 year, decided to let the store go because we weren't making any money, he said, my mother said, do you want to go back to school? And I said, oh, can I? She said, yes. Your principal used to come here and tell me I should send you back to school. So I went back, and then I finished high school. And I was very happy. And I'm tired of talking right now.
You must remember this. A kiss is still a kiss. A sigh is just a sigh. The fundamental things apply as time goes by. And when two lovers woo, they still say I love you. On that you can rely. No matter what the future brings as time goes by. Moonlight and love songs never out of date. Hearts full of passion, jealousy and hate. Woman needs man, and man must have his mate. That no one can deny. It's still the same old story, a fight for love and glory, a case of do or die. The world will always welcome lovers as time goes by. The world will always welcome lovers as time goes by. Duranian a symphonic mood, or should I said mellow mood? Anyway, folks, it's a mood. just had my butler turn the lights down low. He came in unannounced.
I know something about love. You gotta want it bad. If that guy's got into your blood, go out and get
the sun, here comes the sun, and I say it's alright. Little darling, it's been a long, cold, lonely winter. Little darling, it feels like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun, here comes the sun, and I say it's alright. Little darling, the smiles returning to the faces. Little darling, it seems like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun, here comes the sun, and I say it's alright. Sun, 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 here it comes. 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 Little darling, I feel the ice is slowly melting. Little darling, it seems like years since it's been clear. Here comes the sun, here comes the sun, and I say it's alright. Here comes the sun, here comes the sun, it's alright. It's alright.
I love you for sentimental reasons. I hope you do believe me. I'll give you my heart. I love you, and you alone were meant for me. Please give your loving heart to me, and say we'll never part. I think of you every morning, dream of you every night. Darling, I'm never lonely whenever you're inside. I love you for sentimental reasons. I hope you do believe me. I've given you my heart. my heart.
Unforgettable, that's what you are.
Unforgettable, though near or far.
Like a song of love that clings to me. How the thought of you does things to me. Never before has someone been more
Unforgettable in every way.
and forevermore.
And forevermore.
That's how you'll stay.
That's how you'll stay.
That's why, darling, it's incredible that someone so unforgettable thinks that I am unforgettable too.
Someone been more. Ooh, unforgettable. In every way.
In every way.
And forevermore.
And forevermore.
That's how you'll stay.
That's how you stay. That's why, darling, it's incredible that someone so unforgettable thinks that I am unforgettable too.
It's very clear our love is here to stay, not for a year, but ever and a day. Just be passing fancies, and in time may go. But, oh my dear, our love is here to stay. Together we're going a long, long way. In time the Rockies may tumble, Gibraltar may crumble. They're only made of clay. But our love is here to stay. In time the Rockies may tumble, Gibraltar may crumble. They're only made of clay. But our love is here. Our love is here. Our love is here to stay.
Do I want to be with you as the years come and go? Only forever, if you care to know. Would I grant all your wishes and be proud of the task? Only forever, if someone should ask, how long would it take me to be near if you beckoned? Offhand I would figure less than a second. Do you think I'll remember how you looked when you smiled? Only forever, that's putting it mild. Would it take me to be near if you beckoned? Offhand I would figure less than a second. Do you think I'll remember how you looked when you smiled? Oh,
How much do I love you? I'll tell you no lie. How deep is the ocean? How high is the sky? How many times in a day do I think of you? How many roses are sprinkled with dew? How far would I travel just to be where you are? How far is the journey from here to a star? And if I ever lost you, how much would I cry? How deep is the ocean? How high is the sky?